welcome back for the very last time, of course. And thanks for staying with us. You're still tuning into Rapid Down on Rapid TV. And I am Martha Alubania, host from the hour of 7 up until now. Never alone, of course. I've got my guy in the studio with me.
Yes, Victor Arke. You will never walk alone. You know, you know the football club that has that slogan?
I don't.
You don't? All right, that's Liverpool.
Oh, never walk alone. But you walk alone.
But most times, they've not lifted the trophy for quite some time anyway, so they've been walking alone.
Just like that. You have given Liverpool straight bullets now.
Well, I'm an Arsenal fan.
Just like that.
I'm an Arsenal fan, so every opportunity we'll get to give other clubs the straight bullets, we'll give it to them because it's something we take on daily basis, you know.
Anyways, it's fine. If you're a Liverpool fan, I didn't mean to drag you to that point.
You know.
But yeah, thank you so much for being here again. The big conversation happens at 9 o'clock every single day of the week right here on Rapid Dawn on Rapid TV. And for today's conversation is one that is super important. And y'all know I had been screaming about all the whole ban A, ban B, ban B, ban C fraud that goes on in the electricity sector. And I call it fraud because honestly it is. You are being billed for, as a ban A user, you're being billed, you know, ridiculously for electricity, and sometimes you don't really get to have that electricity. Some parts, I'm not going to lie about the FCT tries with providing electricity. No part gives you 24 hours. No part of the FCT gives you 24 hours of electricity. Wow. There must be some sort of outage. You know, even if it's for a few minutes, you still have it. But I mean, if you're saying that you're being billed for a particular thing, this amount goes to that thing, it should be allocated for that thing, and we shouldn't see anything otherwise. But yeah, for today's conversation, we've got one who is a public analyst, and he is Mr. Chukwuemeka Madunago, and he is a public affairs analyst. Today, we will be talking about electricity subsidy that jumps from 220% to nearly 2 trillion naira. I can't believe that we're talking about fuel subsidy and, you know, the fraud that goes on there, and then we're still dealing with electricity, you know, subsidy and all of the fraud that goes on there as well. Now, to have that conversation is with Mr. Chukwuemeka Madu. Good morning, Mr. Chukwuemeka. Are you with us?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Oh, no. We can't hear Mr. Chukwuemeka, and guessing it might be network. But if you can hear us, please let us know that you can hear us, Mr. Chukwuemeka. All right.
Yes, of course, I can hear you.
Let's go out on a very short break to sort this out, and when we get back, we'll get right into the conversation.
Yeah, please.
My name is Akio Sakido.
Hey guys, this is Anto Lecky.
My name is Leo Bliss.
My name is Akava, go by the name Baba D.
And you're tuned into Rapid TV. And I love Rapid TV.
Shout out
Rapid TV.
Thank you, Rapid TV. Please keep watching
Rapid TV. This is
Rapid TV.
Rapid
TV.
Is it on?
That's the new thing.
So we're back and better. Mr. Chukwuemeka Madunago, good morning.
Can you hear me now?
Sir.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Good morning to you.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. It's better. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Pleasant morning to you.
Yes. Let's get right into the conversation. We're talking about electricity subsidy that jumps from 220% to nearly 2 trillion naira here in Nigeria. And let's begin with understanding the present picture, right? What exactly led to this most recent electricity tariff hike, and how does this differ from the previous ones?
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, you know that the electricity sector has been on a roller coaster ride, you know, because of a lot of hitches, a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, you know, affecting the sector. And so that has made it really difficult, you know, for optimum, you know, for optimal efficiency in the sector. Of course, you know that even with the privatization of the sector, and of course the onboarding of generation companies, the Gencos, and the distribution companies, the Discos, you still have a lot of problems. You know, government having had to borrow and also spend a lot of money on improving the sector. But there are still major challenges affecting the sector. So, of course, hiking the tariff, don't take into cognizance also the devaluation of the naira over the over the years. And so government subsidy, government has not actually kept to its own side, of the subsidy, which is why the debt, the debts to, Gencos has risen, people believe there's this estimate that is around between 5 trillion and 6 trillion. So, of course, government talking about a tariff hike. And at the same time, I'm talking about removing subsidies totally. And at the same time that some states like Enugu, states are talking about, Enugu state has already reduced the tariff for band A. So that there are still some major distortions in the sector which need to be, ironed out. What's the cost of electricity, for instance? What is the cost of a kilowatt of electricity in Nigeria? It's the same debate you have in the downstream sector of the oil industry. What is the actual production cost of a liter of PMS, of a liter of diesel? So, but when you keep having this, the easy opaqueness in all of these things that make it, that reduce the discussion, reduce the conversation to just about pricing, just about fixing prices. Whereas it's more than that. We've seen it, over the years. We had the talk about, when the refineries are fixed, the state-run refineries are fixed, that, there will be abundance of, petroleum products. There will be this and there will be that. But we've seen that at the end of the day, the GMD CEO or GCO of NNPC, Mr. Bayo Julari, has said already that, all those repairs, those turnaround maintenance things are becoming more complicated. So I think also is the same complications we're having in the power sector. So for government to just focus on, removing subsidy and hiking tariff, while the state government are saying that no, some things are not just sitting, certain things are not just sitting right in this pricing template, then that tells you that there's a lot hidden in between. Thank you.
All right. We've seen increased subsidy payments in the last few months. This is on the surface, and subsidy is supposed to ease the pressure, right? It's supposed to ease the burden. But how is it that we're still paying, we're still having tariff hikes despite heavier government spendings?
Yeah, you see, when you talk about heavier government spendings, I think the subsidy bill is over $1 trillion. Is a huge amount. But how much has government paid? Only about maybe 391 million. And so the NEC, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, has been talking about it. So if you say you are sustaining subsidy, but you are defaulting on the payments for the subsidy, so what exactly are you doing? Now it's clear, according to government, that it cannot sustain it. Because why? The naira, as you know, government decided to float the naira in 2023. And so that made the bill to jump up significantly. And government cannot meet up with it. Then you have the inputs in the sector. Everything from 0 to 100 is imported. We don't produce anything locally. Nothing in the electricity sector is produced locally. So because of the distortions in the foreign, in the exchange rate, the naira to the dollar. So whatever happens one way or the other will affect pricing in the sector. And the bill just continues to rise and rise and rise. So the government is just saying that, wait a minute, we cannot continue to cope with this. We need to look at the tariff hike. But how come the Enugu State government sat down and said worked out the fact that band A customers, within Enugu State were paid that, that 209 naira, per kilowatt hour they were paying was not justified. So they had to reduce it. That should be addressed. But what do you have? People already, stakeholders in the sector already kicking because some other states are talking of towing that line. So is it that the state governments are now also paying some form of subsidy in order to make things easier for the customers, for electricity consumers? Or is it that they are playing to the gallery? These things need to be sorted out. Nigerians need to ask more questions. Because what we just hear, are just things just thrown to us. But at the end of the day, the results are not showing that what we were told previously is what is being carried out. So these are some of the issues.
For quite some time now, we've been hearing about the reforms in the electricity sector, for years. Now, with the hike in this in the subsidy as well, too, do you think we're making any progress, or Nigerians are just going in circles?
My brother, we are going in circles. We are not making any progress.
That's very strange.
Let me break it down for you.
Yes, please do.
I won't call the names of corporates. I won't call their names, but you have an idea of those I'm talking about. Big industries, big providers, of telecommunication services, universities, hospitals, teaching hospitals are already acquiring licenses for captive generation and distribution. They are exiting the national grid. Even the Nigerian government, the seat of power, the presidential villa, is exiting the national grid. It has budgeted 10 billion naira for a solar grid in the seat of power.
Yeah.
When you remove all of this, people, one industry alone that's into steel production is targeting 20 megawatts. One of the refineries, private refineries in the country, is talking about 1,500 megawatts that it produces on its own and uses countrywide. Please just sit down and do a calculation of all these megawatt living. When these big ticket, deep pocket customers, as they are leaving the national grid, do you know what the implication would be? It is that it is the residential customers and a few industrial customers that will be remaining to sustain the sector. That is why you see Band A, 209. How do you justify that? How do you run a sector majorly on residential customers?
Yeah.
That is why we are saying that the reforms, we should, charity must begin at home. We must get Nigerians to be more productive by investing more in the manufacturing sector, in steel production, in those areas where that require that will absorb thousands of Nigerians, and will require large amounts of electricity. So that government will now be forced to do something drastic. What we've seen are just cosmetic measures. We've not seen you keep talking about the national grid, that you cannot wheel more than 5,000 and maybe 5,100 or 5,200 megawatts. Beyond that, through the national grid, without rushing the national grid to the ICU, to the nearest intensive care unit. Then, how do you do that? If only that private refinery that generating 1,500 megawatts, just supply them, remove 1,500 megawatts from the national grid and supply them. Remove the other industries and all of that here and there. Remove them, put it together. You and I will not have power supply in our homes. I'm just telling you. You and I will not have power supply in our homes. So what it means is that if this national grid is the problem, the federal government has retained control of the transmission system. Some people say it's for national security. But for crying out aloud, what is national security? When the basic thing that oils the economy, which is power, electricity, is lacking. So at the end of the day, you must do something about that transmission. And for me, I'm an advocate that government should sell the transmission. However it's going to do it, it should sell it. Some people have said that, that the transmission system should be broken, should be decentralized. Just like one of the discos is doing a generation and distribution that should do. But I don't know if that is, practicable all over the country. Then you also have the other issue of availability of gas.
Yeah.
That's another thing. One of the Gencos has actually rolled out another 1,250 megawatts, Genco awaiting gas. We're already complaining about the debts owed the Gencos. We're complaining about non-availability of gas, inadequacy of gas. How do you now place all these things together?
There's also been talk about privatization, because you also mentioned that your opinion that Gencos and all should be sold. And there have been promises about privatization, which one of the reasons is
because I'm talking about the transmission line. The Gencos are private, the discos are private, even though the federal government still holds 40% in each Genco and 40% in each disco. But I'm talking about the transmission itself. If you like, look, there is a study that says that Nigeria, generates total, when you put all sources of electricity together, generate up to 26,000 megawatts. But try and wheel it through the national grid, and you're going to have a major disaster. So what I'm saying is that transmission line, government must do something about it. We can't continue pretending that all is well. You can generate 1 million megawatts or whatever. As long as your transmission line, your main line that supplies this power, is not able to wheel more than its current capacity, then you're just winking in the dark. And that is why you see many big customers are already leaving the national grid and setting up captive embedded grids on their own. So you can see the implication. All the reforms are just ended up, making things worse.
Okay.
That is it.
All right. Talking about, my next question was just going to be about your last comment where you said some of these policies and all of these are making the entire system flawed. Let's talk about the structure of the power sector for a bit. Do you think that the current arrangement with the discos and the Gencos and regulatory bodies, do you think it is inherently flawed?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, government should make a decision, a major policy decision about its involvement in private sector areas. Does it want to be a player and a regulator at the same time? Or does government want to just be a regulator? It has to make that decision. That is the problem we're having with, the major, we're having with NPCL. That's the problem. You say it's privatized, but it's still controlled by government. People have said, take it to the stock market, take it to the capital market, and let, just give up control or adopt the NLNG model, which is 49% for government, 51% for, the private sector. Make up your mind on this. You are holding on to 40% of the Gencos and the discos. And at the same time, you say you are regulating. How you're just causing distortions. That 40%, as far as I'm concerned, should be sold. Let it be sold. Let government exit from total involvement in the power sector. And they just remain a regulator.
Are you saying you want the power sector completely privatized?
Absolutely, yes.
But don't you see that we are treading a very risky path? Remember what is going on in the oil sector. right?
Yes.
We have seen a lot of private. In fact, just today there have been updates about some of these marketers completely kicking against Dangote refinery. He wants to privatize the entire sector. The government will have no influence. In fact, they have said now that the refineries should be sold because the possibility of it working is zero. And we want to do the same thing with the power sector. Don't you think we are putting too much of Nigerians' policies and all of our structures in the hands of private sectors? Of the private sector?
Let's be honest with ourselves.
Okay.
We say we are running a market-driven economy.
Okay.
You cannot approbate and reprobate at the same time. We have a large population. We say it's 230 million people.
Okay.
That's 230 million people. Millions of Nigerians who are unemployed. How are you going to accommodate them? How many people will government employ? So what it means is that the best way out for us is to run a private sector driven economy, a market-based economy. Yes, you will have subsidies here and there to cater for the lowest rung of the ladder, to take care of the vulnerable and the poor and all of that. But you know what? You should not allow people to remain poor for too long because it's a disservice to the economy. China did all it did its best and lifted 800 million people out of poverty. Why? By going to those places, by fixing the efficiencies, those things that were, making it difficult for them to be active participants and active, off-takers from economic activities. You say people are poor. Why are they poor? You say they cannot afford 3 square meters. Why can't they afford 3 square meters? It is because we have not turned on the levers of the economy to accommodate opportunities. You see people talking about AI today, artificial intelligence. Oh, it's going to take away jobs and all of that. And I just laugh. AI is going to actually unlock some new jobs. It's going to unlock more job opportunities. Even though it will take away some jobs, but it will unlock more jobs. So we must get away from this analog thinking that, monopoly and all of that. Dangote, whom you talk about, has said, look, NNPC, come and buy my refinery. Take no problem, come and buy it and run it. You can't run refineries that, 4 refineries where you have guaranteed 445,000 barrels per day, supply from government. But you're now calling Dangote, who has successfully started running a refinery of 650,000 barrels per day, and is even raising the capacity to 700,000 barrels per day. And you're calling him a monopolist. I ask people, you and I, do we have the money? Do we have the contacts? Can we muster the technical expertise that Dangote has been able to gather to run his refinery? Do we have it? We don't have it. So why are we just grandstanding monopolist, this and that and the other? It was the same argument we had with the telecom sector. Oh no, for national security, it's not right for people to just be anywhere, be able to make a call. Where are we? When we decided to bite the bullet in 1998, when Abacha, tried to go into it, but, he passed on. Then when Obasanjo came in 2001, he opened the sector. Where are we today? Where are we today? So what we need to do is this. Look, let us drop our analog thinking and unlock the opportunities in the economy. There's so many opportunities in the economy.
Okay.
Now you talked about. Hello, sir.
Yes.
You've talked about investment opportunities in that sector, but if you look at the unpredictability of the hikes as well, to even in the subsidy, positioning ourselves for investment opportunities, both locally and internationally, do you think we are getting to that place where both the private sectors and maybe international investors might want to come in and invest in the electricity sector of Nigeria?
Well, I must be very frank with you. I'm a businessman. Let me tell you, it is how Let me just make it as basic as possible. It is how you set your wares in the market that will attract people, to come to buy. You go to a market, you see how, a trader stacks her tomatoes, peppers, and all of those things. Of course, they look appealing to you. And you go for, maybe you just wanted to go to the market and buy maybe tomatoes or maybe 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. But of course, you end up maybe adding an extra 5,000, buy 10,000. Now, back to the issue. That's why I said unlock the opportunities. Look at the laws. If there are certain incentives, tax holidays, some of these things you will give to investors, give it to them. Let them come in, unlock the opportunities in the power sector. There are so many opportunities. Right now, we just depend on gas and hydropower. How much have we, tried to exploit the opportunities in other sectors, in solar, in biogas, in wind, in other areas, renewables? How much have we done with that? The World Bank, rolled out a plan, a $750 million plan for renewables, renewable energy. How far down the road have we gone with this? Of course, if we show commitment, if we show sincerity, let me tell you, with running the power sector, I tell you, you see, subsidy just be minimal. In fact, at the end of the day, you may even have no need for subsidy. At the end of the day, look at the telecom sector. Is government paying any subsidy on it? The answer is no. And initially, for you to get a SIM card, I bought my first SIM card in 2001 at 30,000 naira.
Yeah.
But today, along the line, down the years, even some were even giving out free SIM cards. So what we are saying is this: take advantage of the population. If you unlock the opportunities and investment starts coming in, investors that have the technical know-how, that have the financial capacity can come in. Of course, you can have investors, in solar, for instance, who will build solar grids, not just home, not just those ones that power home appliances, who will build solar grids that can take care of some of our power needs.
Okay.
But all in all, we must do something about the transmission line. The transmission. We must do something about it.
Okay.
Because unless you are saying, some people have suggested that we should build a new transmission line. That will take many years. That will cost a lot of money. You will have to demolish people's houses. You have a lot of social dislocations. So let us look at, the low-hanging fruits. If we build solar grids, for instance, there are areas that do not require too much electricity. I'm talking about residential areas. You can onboard them on solar. And then you now move power to industrial users. Now, when there is power available for industrial users, people will come. You don't even need to be traveling all over the world and begging for investors. People will come naturally. They will come. And when they come, they will employ your people. You will get, all your efforts will pay off, through taxes, through different taxes, in different ways. And then when you have more, millions of your people employed, of course, even down to the woman grinding pepper, down the street, the woman grinding cassava down the street, everybody will be engaged in one economic activity or the other. Then you will take a lot of people off the streets, take a lot of people out of crime. And in that way, the country will be easier for you to govern.
Hello, sir.
Check how much government has to spend on defense,
On
security and all of that. You will reduce your budget, your spending on security.
All right, Mr. Chukwemeka, thank you so much for your contribution so far. Now, you have made mention of some of the implementable policies that can, policies that can be implemented or reforms that can be implemented to make sure that the power sector works. But can you give us more of these implementable reforms that could make the power sector actually deliver to Nigerians?
One, I've said it, you must do something
About the transmit.
the transmission. I've said it is clear.
Okay.
Government must remove his hands from the transmission.
Okay.
Let the private sector decide and say, okay, this is how we want to dismantle the transmission. So what it means is that, okay, we can make the transmission maybe a market. Everybody throws in what they generate. They get paid immediately. There is nothing about subsidy or so. They get paid immediately. And then we now look for, willing buyers, off-takers. If you say, okay, that's, well, for an MD, maximum demand, you're going to be paying XYZ amount. I'm talking about what you generate from, gas and hydropower. Then you target them. And if you now say, okay, we are going to also have solar grids in certain areas, then you deal with that. You get investors diving into that. Let me tell you.
Hello, Mr. Chukwemeka.
The network.
Energy theft.
Okay, good.
Energy theft. A lot of money is being lost through this estimated billing. But they won't come out and, admit the truth. They'll just tell you, the discos are making money and all of that. What about the money they are losing? What about the money they are losing? Billions from energy theft. So if you think that by increasing the tariffs, you will do better, is a lie. The energy theft will increase. Now, that is the big elephant in the room. So to make sure that you can optimize the investment being made by different parties, you have to rework the entire power system. Now that state governments have come in, yes, they are closer to the people than the federal government. Yes, of course, they are. They have already brought up an issue in terms of the pricing, but that question must be answered first of all before you do anything. How much does it cost? If let's remove political consideration, let's remove corruption. How much does it realistically cost to generate power, transmit and distribute it? All things being equal. Of course, we know all things cannot be equal, but all things being equal, when we leave a margin of error, when we factor a margin of error, how much does it cost to do all that? Then you can now begin to do, proper sectoral reforms. But to just say that, okay, the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, that this is the money available for you to pay Gencos, and you just paid just 391 million out of the huge amount you are owing. That is worse than a drop in the ocean. That's worse than a drop in the ocean. So we must be honest with ourselves. Let's look. I've given you two models: the telecom model, the NLNG model. Those are two models that we can have maybe a hybrid of the two models. And so, okay, this is where we want to go. Or we can actually develop a different model entirely. But what I do know is that government's continued involvement, as a player in the electricity sector is not helping the economy. And the government must think seriously about exiting the power sector. It must think seriously about it. And there's a big danger. There's a big danger in issuing licenses for captive embedded electricity generation and distribution. It's a big danger, because who is going to remain in the power sector? Who will remain? That will take 1,005. You have some 20 megawatts, 3 megawatts, one university. One university is talking of 3 megawatts. Another one is talking of 12 megawatts with a teaching hospital. Another one is talking of 7 megawatts. By the time you put all of this together, and don't forget that right now we have existing licensees of captive power. Put all of that together, remove it from what is available through the national grid. Are we not shooting ourselves in the foot? So why don't we just swallow our pride and
See, so
deal with
right.
it frontally.
Mr.
Thank
Chukwemeka,
you. Thank you.
let's go back a little bit again to privatization, because somehow you've hammered so much on the importance of privatization. But take your mind back to 11 years ago when NEPA was sold, right? And 11 years prior up until now, what has been the difference, from NEPA being sold to a private company? Some person says it's more like a rebranded failure, even where the private sector has taken over. Currently as well too, right now as well, we also have the discos not showing so much of results, even though they are being paid some amount of money. And the discos have also established that they are also in the private sector. So what is really going to change, if this individual, if the private sector takes over, totally?
You see, like he said, the answer swallows the proposition. You have said it all. The privatization, we all know it was not done well. It was studied, it was shabbily done. And, so that is why we have what we are where we are right now. But you see, government is a continuum. We still have the opportunity to redress the inequities in the system. And that is, why do I say that? We have the opportunity to completely now, properly and completely privatize the sector. Anybody who can bring in funds, whether locally or from abroad, please, you're welcome. Don't bring up an idea. You claim you're going to privatization. Meanwhile, it's another way of paying subsidy through the back door. What I believe is this. If you know the subsidy bill, it's clear. The government cannot continue to bear the subsidy bill. But don't make matters worse by saying you are going to hike electricity tariff. Because the Naira remains unstable. So whatever you are doing, it's just like all these loans that the government has been taking so many loans in dollars. And you are factoring it over 40 years. You are taking, loans, factoring it over 40 years. And you're not looking at the fact that the Naira remains weak. The Naira you met at 750 in 2023 is now 1,630 to 1,650. So how do you make up the difference? How do you make up the difference? So it's not just about, political speaks, just trying to be political and all of that. We must face the reality that the power sector privatization in large part has failed. It has largely failed. Go back to the drawing board. Sell that transmission line. Sell your 40% in the Gencos and the Discos. Open up the sector. Open up the opportunities. Throw them open. Let the world come in. After all, how did we come about private refineries? Modular refineries? How did we come about them? It was because government got to a point when it began to tell itself the honest truth that, look, we cannot really handle this sector.
Mr. Amadu,
why don't we start talking about private refineries?
Mr. Chukwemeka,
yes.
Don't you think that completely giving out these things to private sectors will cause complacency in our governance? Because from your own perspective, as long as the government cannot do it, they can move it over to private sectors. So what then can the government do if the basic necessities or the basic things that Nigerians require to survive, they are incapable of providing it? The government has a responsibility, and it's basically being able to provide the basics, and power is one of the basic necessities that Nigeria needs. Don't you think that your approach to solving this problem, which is complete privatization, is going to cause some level of complacency in the government?
Yeah, thank you very much. For more than 25 years, I've been an advocate of deregulation in the downstream sector of the oil industry. Total deregulation. Is that not where we are now? You see, the issue is this. There is a difference between saying that something, is expensive and making efforts to increase the purchasing power. The problem we have in Nigeria is actually the purchasing power of the average Nigerian is poor because of low wages, because of socio-economic distortions. That is the problem. It's not so. If you do put in the right policies,
Okay.
and you bring in investors, let me tell you, you will be able to increase the disposable income of Nigerians. You'll be able to increase the purchasing power of Nigerians. That is the major thing. Look at the other day, retired police officers were on the streets complaining about their pension. That some of them receive 10,000 naira a month, some receive 14,000 naira a month. Why? Their wages are poor. Their wages are poor. So at the end of the day, your wages will reflect in the pension you will get when you retire.
All right, Mr. Chukwemeka. Thank you so much for being with us, but we have to let you go now.
Time is fast.
Really, of course. But it's been great having you join us on the conversation. Thank you for your great wealth of knowledge and, of course, the solutions as well that you prefer. Thank you so much, sir.
You know, the thing, Victor, is when we talk about a sector that is not working and our immediate solution to that problem is privatizing the sector, it just makes me think, what then is your responsibility as a person in power? Because you ought to, I agree with shipping for knowledge, right? Of people who have the knowledge that can run this power sector. You can fetch for these people from anywhere around the world to make it work. But completely leaving power, which is such an essential, in the hands of a private sector. They can decide what they want to do with the power.
Yes, they can.
They can decide the amount of money that each Nigerian is going to pay, and the government will have little to no influence in that.
There could be policies to guide it as well. But if you notice, there's been so much chaos in almost all of the sectors that the federal government is handling. And that is the reason they are moving this whole thing to privatization.
Don't you think we should hold them accountable? Holding them accountable is the solution.
No, see,
privatizing it, I don't think privatizing it is the solution to the problem.
We've held them accountable so much, right? And how many times have we holding the federal government accountable really brought a solution to us as a nation? Mr. Chukwemeka gave us an instance in the telecommunications sector. The federal government was involved in it. Once they took their hands off it, look at the boom in that sector.
Okay.
The oil sector now, right now that we have private refineries coming into the oil sector, it is seeming like there's a lot of progress coming in, and there's a competition, which now means that the federal government has got to step up. And one of the ways they're even stepping up right now, one of the shake rather, is that the private sector in the country is already overshadowing the government because the government is not paying so much attention to what they have. Look at the refineries that we have in the country, Nigeria. Again, from the Port Harcourt refinery to the Warri refinery to the Kaduna refinery. All of these are government-owned refineries. How much functionality do we see coming from there? But get down to the private sector, it is working so well.
Well, there's got to be a way out. There has to be a way out.
There has to be, but there's so much chaos, Martha. That's why. If there are speculations, I cannot confirm all of that right now, but there are speculations that some of the reasons why most of the sectors being run by the federal government are not working is because of the cartels. And these cartels are doing everything possible just to make profit. It doesn't matter if Nigerians are in darkness, as long as we are paying and they're making their money.
Imagine the entire Aso Rock going to buy inverters. 10 billion or over.
Yeah, billions of naira. For the installations of it.
It just means that, see, there's no way out. Just do what you must to ensure that you provide power for yourself.
That's it.
It is a reflection of the conclusion that the government has come to. We need power, but we cannot generate power. And we don't know how to come about, this generation of power. So let's just opt for solar panels. It's going to work. Let's just opt for It is very, very unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
To go back to the quantity that we generate. We generate 5,000 megawatts for over 200 million Nigerians. Is that not crazy?
All right. I think we have Mr. Chukwemeka back online because the entire thing cut abruptly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. We were already almost concluding it on your behalf.
but go on and give us some of your concluding thoughts anyways.
Yes.
Looking at the power sector.
Let me tell you.
Yes, please.
Government is not even regulating the sector enough.
Okay.
That is why these codes are misbehaving. You are not playing your role as a supervisor, as a regulator.
Yeah.
You now want to be a player. You cannot approbate and reprobate. You just do one. Because look, we may deceive ourselves that Nigeria is a rich country. Nigeria is not a rich country. This is a country that is living on oxygen. In the ICU, we are poor.
Wow.
No, this is a poor country. Forget, look, the government just goes abroad, borrows money in dollars, we come and change. You know, the government, they really devalue the naira and they will change money. Oh, there's so much money. There's money in this country. Let me tell you something. If you remove a lot of all this government subsidy and corruption and all that, you will see how miserable we are. Let us face the reality. Look, we can only wheel 5,000, maybe 30 megawatts through the national grid, through the transmission. That is where the problem even begins from. So you will need to keep paying subsidy because the big organizations, the big companies, the big investors that can actually pay for your power, they are leaving. You're giving them licenses to leave. You're holding on to 40% in GECOs and DISCOs. But you are still holding on to the transition line. All these things government is holding on to. Government should release them. Release them to the private sector so that there can be better efficiency. Then you will now be monitoring. You'll be monitoring to make sure once there's any infraction, you punish you punish those who are responsible for it. And then you can now have optimum utilization. But you're not making people the little disposable income they have, they're investing in solar panels, investing in this. Everybody is now a local government of his own. You are sinking boreholes. You know, when we were much younger, we had pipe-borne water, potable water to our homes.
Yeah.
But today, all of us have to sink boreholes. Now, that is where the power sector is heading to. It's not right. We know what the solutions are, but we just like to deceive ourselves, you know. And then until we can no longer sustain, because we enjoy all that subsidy you talk about, a lot of it goes into corruption. A lot of the money is stolen. That's why, you know, that's why you will see that subsidy jumping, you know, to almost 2 trillion naira. How much has government paid out of it? Just 391 million. And then you are talking of subsidy. Why not further privatize the sector? Why not open up areas that can bring in foreign investors, bring in money, exit the sector? Look at the regulation. Are we not in the regulation right now? We're heading to the regulation. Even though there's some talk that government is still paying some form of subsidy and all of that, it is because we don't want to face the truth. Some people are still benefiting from the importation of fuel into this country. And that is why that appetite, they cannot kill that appetite. And that is why you see some players in the downstream sector of the oil industry have said that PMS can be sold at 700 naira. Some say it can be sold at 500 naira. But you see all these incremental reductions, and we remove 10 naira, we remove 15 naira. Who are they deceiving?
All right.
Who are they deceiving?
Okay.
So when you look at it, you see Dangote telling you he still has to import crude. Why? Because we still have some issues too in the upstream sector.
Sure.
Let's sit down and sort out these issues. Let's remove the politics. Let's remove the corruption. Let's remove all these, pretense of paying subsidy. Because the more you increase the electricity, look, the more energy theft you have. If people don't have the means to sustain it, well, they will find other ways to get around it. You allow the big customer to go away to set up their own. Right, just like the borehole economy we have in Nigeria. The smaller ones too, who can afford solar panels, are doing that. Then in the end, who is going to sustain the electricity sector?
And that's the big
who will be remaining?
That's the question that's still begging for answer. But Mr. Chukwemeka, we have to draw the curtain here today. Thank you so much for being here on the joining us on the conversation.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you. Do have a lovely day. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Well, 2 trillion naira, that's where the money has gone to. And Nigerians are still asking questions such as, where is this money really going to? Who are we to hold accountable for all of these monies that are being spent? We're paying for the electricity subsidy, but many Nigerians, millions of Nigerians are saying, we're in darkness. In my former organization, there's this guy who calls us on daily basis and tells us that in his city, in Abia State, he has never had light for over 20 years. And that place is in Nigeria.
I'm talking about in the FCT. There are places that don't have lights for years.
So
in the FCT,
yes. So these are questions that we keep asking the federal government, the electricity providers. What are you doing to ensure that the monies that the government says they are subsidizing, it's helpful for Nigerians? Because even at it, there is estimated billing. Nigerians are paying higher.
Right now, it's looking like subsidy is synonymous to fraud.
That's what it is.
Any sector you start hearing subsidy, just know that there's some level of fraud going on there. We have battled that for fuel and what have you, and oil. We are here now in
electricity.
The power sector is epileptic.
Very much.
Here in Nigeria, completely epileptic. And the truth is, we do not want to step up. If we want to step up, the government cannot tell me it doesn't know what to do.
Of course,
when it comes to the power sector. The government cannot say it doesn't know what to do. When it comes to the places that concern them, they are particular about, they know what to do.
Yes.
But when it comes to power, and like he said, that's the reason that we are poor. Because power constitutes, you use power for literally everything. For manufacturing, for producing, for distribution.
Yes.
You use power for almost everything. And if the power sector is epileptic, the production, the manufacturing will be epileptic, and the economy becomes epileptic as well. So we should quit solving problems from the surface. That's what we do all the time. Shadow boxing. We know the root cause of the problem. We do not want to solve it from there. We want to solve it from the top, where we can get accolades, where people can see that we're actually working. You see, the whole problem of the power sector is not something that you sit to discuss in one day.
Nah.
Because if you...
it doesn't finish it.
It doesn't finish.
There's so much lack of trust, lack of accountability, and we were talking about holding the government to accountability. How do we even hold them? Because there are no metrics as to how they show us how these monies are being spent. Again, with this 2 trillion naira, what is the metrics? How is this money being spent?
And the GenCos.
And the GenCos as well.
They're still on the government's throats.
Yes,
the government is still owing them.
They're still being owed.
They're still being owed by the government. Well, these are the things that we constantly deal with here in Nigeria. I do not believe that it's not a problem that cannot be solved. I think that it can be solved.
It can.
The government just needs to look inward and collaborate with people who have the knowledge. You don't have to give it out. Collaborate with people. But, it's looking like we're getting to the point where the government will hands off completely.
They have to.
Last year, we know how many times the national grid collapsed. Just this year, we haven't heard so much of it, that, the national grid has collapsed and all of that. But I feel like something can be done. And it's a call to the people who are within the quarters of this, the corridors of this, of power, or this organization that can do something to work it out. To work it out as much as possible.
Truly.
But yeah, it's where we draw the curtain, like Victor would say. Thank you for staying true to all the programs we had here on Rapid on this beautiful morning. We draw the curtain here, and when next you see us, it's going to be Friday. We're screaming at the top of our voices.
Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
Just in a few hours anyways, and I'm sure you're so excited for that. Right, but let's just get ourselves ready, and whatever you need to do today, please do it. If you need to get yourself ready for the all-one bed tomorrow, start now to prepare, because we might just be coming to your houses to celebrate with you.
Now that you have talked about all-one bed, I feel like looking like a proper all-one bed chic tomorrow morning.
You should do that tomorrow.
Let's see how tomorrow goes.
You should do that.
Let's see how it goes tomorrow.
Let me see Buba, and Gilly.
Let's see how it goes tomorrow. But anyways, we also remind you that we are live across social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram, on TikTok, and on Twitter. It is at Rapid TV. And we are live across social media platforms. So you can chat us up, you can send us messages, let us know what your thoughts are about the programs that we have here every single day. Also, you can watch all of the episodes that we have, Relieve the Moment, on YouTube at official Rapid TV. TV. Like, subscribe, and share to your friends. Comment as well. Then you can take us with you everywhere. I mean, is it you taking us or we taking you? Whatever it is, we are together in this. So with just a click on our website, you can enjoy our programs live, www.rbnradiotv.com. I am Martha Alu. You can call me Martha.
And I am Victor Ake. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Correro, your front row seat to the most pressing issues from the corridors of power to the heart of our communities. We bring you unfiltered insight, fearless journalism, and the conversations that matter. My name is Natural Prince, and I invite you to this big conversation table as we analyze the top stories, ask the tough questions, and hold power to account. News that informs, analysis that empowers, debate that drives change. Correro, the big conversation, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on Rapid TV.
Meet the men and women shaping the future of Nigeria. Get to know your representatives at the National Assembly. From lawmaking to constituency projects, we'll take you behind the scenes and inside the chambers of the Nigerian National Assembly. Learn about the bills they are championing, the challenges they are facing, and the impact they are making in their constituencies. We'll also bring you closer to the people they are serving and the stories that shape their work. Join us on NAS Watch every Friday on Rapid Television at 7 p.m. So get informed, get engaged, and get to know the leaders shaping Nigeria's future.
Nigeria's economy, the global markets, what does it all mean for you? From stock market insights to global financial news you need to know. From Wall Street to the main street and, of course, the marketplace.
Get the answers you need every week on Business Lens with me, Faith Dafa Joseph, as I bring into focus the stories, strategies, and shifts shaping our economy. No angle is missed as I talk about the business, the people, patterns, and possibilities behind them. Welcome to the Business Lens.
Rapid TV, rooted in truth, driven by impact.
Are you missing out on interviews, music, entertainment, thought-provoking discussions, and more? Don't sweat it, man. We've got you covered. No matter where you are, be part of the action 24/7, online and live.
Caesar Radio.
On Facebook, it's Rapid FM Umahia. On Instagram, it's official Rapid FM. And on X, it is Rapid FM 965. Tune in to Rapid 96.5 FM or listen to us live on our website at www.
Rapid TV.
Rapid TV.
Yes, keep watching.
Don't go nowhere. Don't touch that down.
Keep watching Rapid TV.
This is me giving a rapid response to Rapid TV.
Una hụzole ji ihe anọ nga awa ọjị nke anọ nga awa ọkwa Igbo a na-eti ọjị n'ọkwa ka ọkwa akwa ihe kwa akwa n'ala Igbo gosipụtara ihe ziri ezi so ana m asị dịka anyị tiri ọjị n'ọkwa na-amụ aka n'ọkwa ka ọ kwara anyị n'aha Jizọs asị m ọ gịdịrị anyị mma na eke ọ gịdịrị anyị n'orie ọ gịdịrị anyị n'afọ